Alright, Mr. Scluesner, here is a quick review from our first lesson. First, we'll take a look at a couple videos of your swing. Alright. We talked about in the lesson, if there was one thing I would like to see you do a little bit better with your body, it would be the changing of your knee flex. Your hips don't really turn too much, so it restricts your shoulder turn. I wouldn't try and make too drastic of a change, all at once, but really what I would stress is that you allow your right leg just to turn freely, your right leg, right hip to turn freely in the backswing. And that'll free you up to get your hands a little deeper behind you, which will help with hitting draws, or at least straight shots. But then as we watch you swing down, even though the club's coming fairly outside, you do still get a pretty good swing on it. Alright, and if we look at from the face-on angle, we'll see. So what we see is we ended up talking about the way that your wrists work, and when you rehearse this angle, you tend to rehearse this angle a little bit too long, right? And what we'll see if I move off the video, so again we're talking about the way the wrists were working, kind of pulling that handle forward too long. We go down here, and let's look at, let me close this up. Whoops. We'll just look at your trajectory, and then we'll look at dispersion. So first things first, this is your 7-iron. When we look at your dispersion, right, we can see a clear trend. I apologize, phone's ringing in the background. But we can see your clear trend, for the most part, is to hit the ball off to the right of the target. And as we scroll through here, the big number we're going to look at is the face angle. So for the most part, your swing direction is not, you don't swing terribly far left, but your face angle was very often far too much to the right. It was, your club face was way too open at impact, right? So we have 5, 7, and if we look here, as I'm reading these off, right, the club path on the left, we're going to notice the club path is generally straight, but then the face is well open. So 7 with a straight path, face is basically square there with a slightly leftward path. That's what that one went pretty straight. This is one of the ones where you got the face closed. But again, here we are, a path slightly outward, but a face 10 to the right, which that's that push-cut shot that you say just absolutely kills you when you get out on the golf course. And we can see, if I scroll through here rather quickly, we'll see that for the most part, the issue is, here it is again, the face pointing too far right on those push shots. So what we ended up doing is we talked about in your rehearsal how your wrists needed to work a little bit differently. Rather than kind of pulling that handle down and forward so long in the backswing, it was right around hip high you started to let your kind of your wrists release a little bit. And I grabbed a hold of them, and it wasn't a roll. It was not a roll of the wrists, right? It wasn't a we didn't try and hold that angle too long. There wasn't rolling of the wrists and forearms. What it was the flexion and extension of the wrists. So what I did is I grabbed your hands, and as you delivered it, I made you cup your left wrist a little bit to get that club back squared up. And then we moved on to 6 hybrid, right? And here's our face angle issue showing up again, 7 degrees open. And we'll see that as a trend throughout until we get kind of to the end here, right? We started getting that wrist cupping a little bit. The face angle starts getting a little bit more closed, right? We start hitting the shots a little more in line. I think our target changed here. Like on this one, I think we changed our target a little bit, which is why this is showing it so far left. But just when we look at this distribution up here, right, we can start to see it's much more 50-50 left and right after we'd worked on what your wrists were doing with the hybrid. And then we had a couple drivers that you hit towards the end. And I think that you did pull both of these a little bit, but it was a way different shot, way more solid strike than the pushes that you were used to hitting. And again, so we can see how drastically we've changed your tendencies. At the start of the day with the 7-iron, everything was over here. And with these 2 driver swings, it was the only 2 you hit, right? We hit, even though they were pulls, they were solidly struck pulls, and you were getting all your distance out of it. And what we can see, looking at this one in particular, is we have a face angle, right, that's fairly closed, and then a club path that matches up with it. So you hit a pretty straight ball on this last swing. All right, Mr. Scluesner, if you have any questions, you know where to reach me, sir. Thank you.